Good morning. All members will please come to the floor and take their seats. All members come to the floor and take your seats. The hour for convening having arrived, all members will please take their seats. Mr. Clerk, will you ring the bell? We're going to have the morning roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine. Members, if you will join me in rising from your seats just for a moment, I'll give you some sad news this morning. We'll talk more about it a little bit later. But I've asked the pastor to remember Mr. Bruce Sims, one of our doorkeepers we lost last night. Mr. Bruce was a kind soul. Did a great job and loved this house as well, as all of our doorkeepers do. But he certainly will be missed, and we'll have a photo of Mr. Bruce in a little while, so and we'll speak more to that point. So a moment of silence for Mr. Bruce, and certainly condolences to his family, if you'll join me in that. Good Lord, thank you for a good man who cared about this house, cared about each and every member here. Thank you for his service to Georgia and to this Georgia House of Representatives. Bless his family. Lord, we ask that you would be with them, and Lord, give them the support they need, if we will as well, if we're so asked, in these days that come. Thank you, God. Amen. Be seated. Doorkeepers, will you please close the doors? As is our custom, we will begin our day with scripture reading and prayer by our chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the lady from the 53rd House District, Chair Lady Deborah Silcox, Representative Silcox.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Happy Crossover Day. I am delighted to have my pastor, Dr. Richard Conwisher, this morning from Peachtree Presbyterian Church. Dr. Conwisher studied at Trinity University in San Antonio before completing his master's at Princeton Seminary and his doctorate from Fuller Theological Seminary. He has been honored to serve as a member of the Board of Trustees for all three of his higher educational institutions, and he is currently on the Board of Directors for the historic Fox Theater here in Atlanta. Richard and his wife Kelly met in graduate school. They fell in love debating theology and eating ice cream as a reward after an evening in the library. Kelly is the founder of OptUp Consulting and is passionate about empowering momentum for organizations and noble causes. They have 2 adult children. One is a student at the University of Georgia, and the other attends Rich's alma mater, Trinity University. Rich loves to read, swim, run, and if you really want a great story, ask him about his hole-in-one in golf. So with that, Dr. Richard Conwisher.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Deborah. Mr. Speaker, I thought I would encourage us this morning with some ancient words from the Bible that sound like they were written yesterday. I thank my God every time I remember you, constantly praying with joy in every one of my prayers for all of you, because of your sharing of the good news from the first day until now. That it's right for me to think this way about all of you because you share in God's grace with me, both in my struggles and in the defense and the confirmation of the good news. It is right for me to think this way about all of you because you hold me in your heart. I'm confident of this, that the one who began a good work among you will see it to the finish line. And this is my prayer, that your love may overflow more and more with knowledge and full insight to help you to determine what is best. And so if there's any encouragement in Christ, if there's any consolation from love, if there's any sharing in the Spirit, if there's any compassion, if there's any sympathy, then make my joy complete. To be of the same mind, to have the same love, to being in full accord and of one mind, to do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility to regard others as better than yourselves. Let each of you look not to your own interests, but to the interests of others. Let the same mind of God be in you. Not that I've already attained this or I've already reached the goal, but I press on to make it my own because God has made me His own. I do not consider that I've made it my own, but this one thing I do, forgetting what lies behind, straining forward to what lies ahead, I press on to the call of the heavenly prize of what God's given to us. And so rejoice in the Lord always. I'll say it again, rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. Do not worry about anything, but in everything by prayer and intercession with thanksgiving in your hearts, bring what you have before God. And the peace of God that surpasses all understanding will stand guards at your hearts and your minds. And so finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is pleasing, whatever is commendable, if there's anything that is of excellence, if there is anything that is worthy of praise, think about these things. Keep on doing the things that you have heard and seen and learned and received, and the God of peace will be with you. Let us stand and pray. By your strength and by your Spirit, O God, will you pour yourself out upon your people, upon this assembly, to be able to give them a joy that is beyond their knowing, a humility that strives towards service, and for the opportunity to forget what lies behind and to lean forward into a future with hope. Take away all of their fears and anxieties. Leave them with gentleness of spirit. And may your peace descend upon this chamber, particularly upon the Sims family, to give us of a hope that can never be shaken. And so make this day productive. Make it shorter than they expect it will be. And I offer this prayer, may it be so, and may it be so. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. From my lips to God's ears.
Well, y'all heard the preacher. It's going to be a short day. What can I say? Doorkeepers, you may unlock the doors. Member, you may join the pastor in the south standing room for a photo. Members, our doctor of the day is brought to us today by Representative Sheila Jones. Thank you, Representative Jones. Dr. LaJune Oliver is downstairs today. If you need her, call on her. We appreciate you, and let the doctor know, show her our appreciation for being here today. Certainly is important to us. Oh, I want to, since it's day 28, we need 2 physicians working today. So we have one for the morning hours and one for the afternoon. Representative Jones has brought the morning hours, and Representative Matt Barton has Dr. Max Parrott here, will be here for the afternoon time frame. I think the afternoon is got it short end of the stick on that one. I don't know if he's going to stay with us till we complete our evening or not, but this says he will. So thanks to Representative Barton and Representative Jones for bringing our physicians of the day. We appreciate their service. Chairman Tarvin, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Information and Audits has read the journal from the previous legislative day and found it to be correct. And on another note, this quote is very true and full of symbolism. We delight in the beauty of a butterfly, but we very rarely stop to think the changes it went through to get there.
Another profound on another note. Very true, very appropriate. Chairman Tarvin, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to dispense with the reading of the journal? The chair hears none. The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day?
Representative Estration of the 104th moves following be established as the order of business during the first part of the period. Unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference House bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. Reports of standing committees. Third reading and passage of uncontested local bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? Chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions, the clerk will read.
House Bill 1420 by Representative McCollum of the 30th, abstention of the 104th, Fleming of the 114th, Smith of the 18th, Gaines of the 120th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 2, Chapter 13 to Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to regulation of controlled substances.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 1421 by Representative Maynard of the 56th. A bill be titled an act to amend Article 2, Chapter 10 and Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to obstruction of public administration.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 1422 by Representative Wade of the 9th and Chastain of the 7th. A bill be titled an act to provide a homestead exemption from Dawson County ad valorem taxes.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 1423 by Representative Wade of the 9th and Chastain of the 7th. A bill be titled an act to provide a homestead exemptions from Dawson County School District ad valorem taxes.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 1424 by Representative Lim of the 98th and Elowitz of the 42nd, Reese of the 140th, Hutchinson of the 106th, Holcomb of the 81st. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to health.
Health.
House Bill 1425 by Representative Gilliard of the 162nd, Jackson of the 165th, Stevens of the 164th, and Westbrook of the 163rd. Bill be titled an act to create the Weeping Time Cultural Heritage Corridor Authority.
Governmental affairs.
House Bill 1426 by Representative Reeves of the 99th, Carson of the 46th, Panitch of the 51st, Cox of the 28th, McDonald of the 26th. Bill be titled an act to amend Part 1 of Article 2, Chapter 7 to Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to general provisions relative to criminal trespass.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 1427 by Representative Stinson of the 150th. The bill be titled an act to amend an act to provide for the Board of Education of Dooley County.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 1428 by Representative Davis, the 87th, Scott of the 76th, Schofield of the 63rd. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 9 to Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to consent for surgical or medical treatment.
Public and community health.
House Bill 1429 by Representative Adesanya of the 43rd. A bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 7 to Title 44 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to landlord and tenant.
Governmental affairs.
House Bill 1430 by Representative Adesanya of the 43rd, Ridley of the 22nd, McLean of the 109th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 1 of Title 40 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to general provisions relative to identification and regulation of motor vehicles and traffic.
Motor vehicles.
House Resolution 1283 by Representative Powell of the 33rd, Jaspers of the 11th, Washburn of the 144th, Ridley the 6th, Collins the 71st, and others. A resolution creating the House Study Committee on Safety and Consumer Protection.
Regulated industries.
House Resolution 1298 by Representative Williams of the 37th, Oliver of the 82nd, Buckner of the 137th, Evans of the 89th, Smith of the 41st, and others. A resolution urging the Georgia Environmental Protection Division to protect Georgia's groundwater.
Natural resources and environment.
Senate Bill 147 by Senators Still of the 48th, Donizal of the 27th, Roberts of the 29th, Anna Devard of the 31st, Dixon of the 45th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 6 of Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated the Quality Basic Education Act.
Education.
Senate Bill 171 by Senator Burns of the 23rd, Gooch of the 51st, Red of the 33rd, Parent of the 42nd, Dixon of the 45th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 62 of Title 36 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to development authorities.
Governmental affairs.
Senate Bill 293 by Senator Watson of the 1st, Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Walker of the 20th, Hodges of the 3rd, Strickland of the 17th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 3 of Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to county boards of health.
Public and community health.
Senate Bill 324 by Senator Jackson of the 41st, Dugan of the 30th, Brass of the 28th, and Jones of the 22nd. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 18 of Title 50 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to state printing and documents.
Governmental affairs.
Senate Bill 368 by Senator Williams of the 25th, Burns of the 23rd, Dolezal of the 27th, Robertson of the 29th, Strickland of the 17th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 5 of Title 21 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to government transparency.
Judiciary.
Senate Bill 402 by Senator McGinn of the 47th, Albers of the 56th, Summers of the 13th, Williams of the 25th, Goodman of the 8th, and others. A bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 4524 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to instruction permits.
Motor Vehicles.
Senate Bill 417 by Senator Albers of the 56th, Robertson of the 29th, Burns of the 23rd, Hofstetler of the 52nd, Still of the 48th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 82106 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to reporting of accidents relative to elevators, dumbwaiters, and escalators.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
Senate Bill 421 by Senator Dixon of the 45th, Albers of the 56th, Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Roberts of the 29th, Jackson of the 41st, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 2, Chapter 10 and Title 16 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to obstruction of public administration.
Judiciary Non-Civil.
Senate Bill 433 by Senator Cowser to the 46th, Kennedy the 18th, Gooch of the 51st, Robertson the 29th, Tillery the 19th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 3, Title 14 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions for nonprofit corporations.
Judiciary.
Senate Bill 450 by Senator Kennedy the 18th, Strickland of the 17th, Tillery the 19th, Gooch of the 51st, and Jones of the 22nd. Bill be titled an act to amend Titles 5, 15, 44, and 53 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to appeal and error.
Judiciary.
Senate Bill 455 by Senator Strickland of the 17th, Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Watson of the 1st. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 49, 4, 148 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to recovery of medical assistance.
Health.
Senate Bill 456 by Senator Strickland of the 17th, Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Watson of the 1st, Albers of the 56th, Harrell of the 40th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 14A of Chapter 7 of Title 31 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to the Central Caregiver Registry.
Public and Community Health.
Senate Bill 465 by Senator Goodman of the 8th, Hatchett of the 50th, Tillery of the 19th, Walker of the 20th, Anderson of the 24th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 5 of Title 16 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to homicide.
Judiciary Non-Civil.
Senate Bill 473 by Senator Albers of the 56th, Robertson of the 29th, Anna DeVardo of the 31st, Strickland of the 17th, Goodman of the 8th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 10 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to commerce and trade.
Technology and Infrastructure Innovation.
Senate Bill 494 by Senator Watson of the 11th, Robertson of the 29th, Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Goodman of the 8th, Sims of the 12th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 23 and Title 2 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to the Georgia Hemp Farming Act.
Agriculture and Consumer Affairs.
Senate Bill 497 by Senator Hickman of the 4th, Albers of the 56th, Beach of the 21st, Estevez of the 6th, and Halpern of the 39th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 4, Title 20 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to vocational, technical, and adult education.
Higher Education.
Senate Bill 515 by Senator Hatchett of the 50th, Watson of the 1st, Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Williams of the 25th, Anderson of the 24th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 11 and Title 31 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions regarding emergency medical services.
Health.
Senate Bill 520 by Senator Cowser to the 46th, Kirkpatrick of the 32nd, Strickland of the 17th, Hatchett of the 50th, Tillery of the 19th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 19 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to domestic relations.
Juvenile Justice.
Senate Resolution 579 by Senator Cowser to the 46th, Beach of the 21st, Butler of the 55th, Summers of the 13th, Albers of the 56th, and others. A resolution proposing an amendment to the Constitution of the State of Georgia so as to authorize the General Assembly to provide by general law.
Higher Education.
Senate Resolution 583 by Senator Hatchett of the 50th, a resolution honoring the life of Dr. Robert F. Sullivan and dedicating a road in his memory.
Transportation.
Senate Resolution 609 by Senator Gooch of the 51st, a resolution recognizing the Princess Trial Leader and dedicating a roundabout in her memory.
Transportation.
That completes first readers.
All right, members, we need to tone it down just a little bit. I almost assigned someone's bill to the wrong committee because I couldn't hear, but it was a senator, so it was not a big deal. It was a senator. Don't worry about it. They'll get over it. Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 1399 by Representative Scoggins of the 14th and Gamble of the 15th, a bill to provide a new charter for the City of White. House Bill 1400 by Representative Green of the 154th, a bill to provide a new charter for the City of Damascus. House Bill 1401 by Representative Green of the 154th, a bill to provide a new charter for the City of Blakely. House Bill 1402 by Representative Cummings of the 39th, Anilowitz of the 42nd, Stoner of the 40th, Campbell of the 35th, Adesanya of the 43rd, and others, a bill to amend an act incorporating the City of Mableton. House Bill 1403 by Representative Ridley of the 6th, a bill to amend an act providing a new charter for the City of Chatsworth. House Bill 1404 by Representative Franklin of the 160th, Jenkins of the 136th, Lott of the 131st, Powell of the 133rd, Burchett of the 176th, and others, a bill relating to advertisement regarding judicial sales. House Bill 1405 by Representative Crawford of the 84th, Mitchell of the 88th, Roberts of the 52nd, Davis of the 87th, Draper of the 90th, a bill relating to security deposits. House Bill 1411 by Representative Meeks of the 178th and Deloach of the 167th, a bill to amend an act to provide a new charter for the City of Screven. House Bill 1412 by Representative Blackman of the 146th, Mallard of the 147th, Beverly of the 143rd, Dickey of the 145th, a bill to create the Warner Robins Convention and Visitors Bureau Authority. House Bill 1413 by Representative Rhodes of the 124th, Crow of the 118th, a bill to provide a homestead exemption from Putnam County School District ad valorem taxes. House Bill 1414 by Representative Hilton of the 48th, Roman of the 97th, Marin of the 96th, a bill to provide for the creation of one or more community improvement districts to be wholly located within the City of Peachtree Corners. House Bill 1415 by Representative Gaines of the 120th, Wiedauer of the 121st, Petrie of the 166th, Rhodes of the 124th, Hong of the 103rd, a bill relating to general provisions for law enforcement officers and agencies. House Bill 1416 by Representative Adesanya of the 43rd, Cummings of the 39th, Lem of the 98th, Bell of the 75th, Crawford of the 84th, a bill relating to landlord and tenant. House Bill 1417 by Representative Stinson of the 150th, Williams of the 168th, Bennett of the 94th, Jones of the 60th, Scott of the 76th, and others, a bill relating to general provisions of grand juries. House Bill 1418 by Representative Beverly of the 143rd, a bill relating to the Department of Community Affairs. House Bill 1419 by Representative Camp of the 135th, a bill to create the Pike County Public Facilities Authority. House Resolution 1256 by Representative Schofield of the 63rd, Scott of the 76th, Mitchell of the 88th, Davis of the 87th, Jackson of the 68th, a resolution creating the House Study Committee on the establishment of a baby bonds program. House Resolution 1257 by Representative Bell of the 75th, Bonner of the 73rd, Cannon of the 172nd, Clark of the 100th, Davis of the 87th, and others, a resolution creating the Joint Study Committee on combating homelessness among veterans. Senate Bill 10 by Senator Jones of the 10th, Jones the 2nd of the 22nd, Butler of the 55th, Albers of the 56th, Say of the 34th, and others, a bill relating to offenses against public order and motor vehicles and traffic. Senate Bill 235 by Senator Halpern of the 39th, Anna Navarte of the 31st, Say of the 34th, Orrick of the 36th, Beach of the 21st, and others, a bill relating to the Department of Community Affairs. Senate Bill 351 by Senator Anna Navarte of the 31st, Robertson of the 29th, Brass of the 28th, Kennedy of the 18th, Gooch of the 51st, and others, a bill relating to education and minors. Senate Bill 384 by Senator Hickman of the 4th, Albers of the 56th, Beach of the 21st, Halpern of the 39th, Estevez of the 6th, a bill relating to labor practices relative to public officers and employees. Senate Bill 399 by Senator Eccles of the 49th, Albers of the 56th, Walker the 3rd of the 20th, Estevez of the 6th, Hickman of the 4th, and others, a bill relating to vocational, technical, and adult education. Senate Bill 429 by Senator Dolezal of the 27th, Gooch of the 51st, Kennedy of the 18th, Robertson of the 29th, and Navarte of the 31st, and others, a bill relating to General Assembly, health, and state government. Senate Bill 440 by Senator Brass of the 28th, Parent of the 42nd, Dixon of the 45th, Butler of the 55th, Williams of the 25th, and others, a bill relating to the Quality Basic Education Act. Senate Bill 504 by Senator Burns of the 23rd, a bill to create a Board of Elections and Registration for Warren County, through second readers.
Reports of standing committees the clerk will read. I get it, it's day 28. Early in the morning, so conversations probably need to go to the ante rooms if you want to be really effective on those conversations. Because some of the members need to hear what Mr. Clerk's going to tell us. Reports of standing committees the clerk will read. Mr. Clerk.
Representative Robert Dickey, the 145th District Chairman on the Committee on Agriculture and Consumer Affairs, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Agriculture and Consumer Affairs has had under its consideration the following bill of the House and instructed me to report same back to the House with the following recommendation. House Bill 1322 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Robert Dickey, the 145th District Chairman. Representative Chris Irwin, the 32nd District Chairman of the Committee on Education, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Education has had under its consideration the following bills of the House and instructed me to report same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 1384 do pass. House Bill 1036 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Chris Irwin, the 32nd District Chairman. Representative Don Parsons, the 44th District Chairman of the Committee on Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications has had under its consideration the following bill of the House. Instructed me to report same back to the House the following recommendation. House Bill 1406 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Don Parsons, the 44th District Chairman. Representative Beth Camp of the 135th District, Chairman on the Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Locals, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Locals had under its consideration the following bills of the House and Senate and has instructed me to report same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 1280 do pass. House Bill 1281 do pass. House Bill 1282 do pass. House Bill 1347 do pass. Senate Bill 345 do pass. House Bill 1319 do pass. House Bill 1320 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Beth Camp of the 135th District, Chairman. Representative Gunner, the 8th District Chairman of the Committee on Judiciary, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Judiciary has had under its consideration the following bills of the House. It's instructed me to report same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 840 do pass by committee substitute. House Bill 931 do pass. House Bill 1075 do pass by committee substitute. House Bill 1296 do pass by committee substitute. House Bill 1371 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Gunner, the 8th District Chairman. Representative Tyler Paul Smith, the 18th District Chairman of the Committee on Judiciary Non-Civil, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Judiciary Non-Civils had under its consideration following bills of the House and Senate and has instructed me to report same back to the House with following recommendations. House Bill 446 do pass by committee substitute. House Bill 656 do pass by committee substitute. House Bill 1079 do pass. House Bill 1130 do pass. House Bill 1360 do pass. House Bill 1383 do pass. Senate Bill 332 do pass. House Bill 1110 do pass by committee substitute. House Bill 1118 do pass by committee substitute. House Bill 1136 do pass by committee substitute. House Bill 1367 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Tyler Paul Smith of the 18th District, Chairman. Representative Jay Collins, the 71st District Chairman of the Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security has had under its consideration following bill of the House has instructed me to report same back to the House with the following recommendation. House Bill 424 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Jay Collins, the 71st District Chairman. Representative Alan Powell, the 33rd District Chairman of the Committee on Regulated Industries, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Regulated Industries has had under its consideration the following bills of the House has instructed me to report same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 1232 do pass. House Bill 1260 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Alan Powell, the 33rd District Chairman. Representative Carson, the 46th District Chairman on the Committee on Retirement, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Retirement has had under its consideration the following bills of the House has instructed me to report same back to the House with the following recommendation. House Bill 824 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Carson, the 46th District Chairman. Representative Stephen Saints of the 180th District, Chairman of the Committee on Special Rules, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Special Rules has had under its consideration following bills in the House and the Senate and has instructed me to report same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 1297 do pass. Senate Bill 337 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Steve Saints of the 180th District, Chairman. Representative Gerald Green of the 154th District, Chairman of the Committee on State Properties, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on State Properties has had under its consideration the following bills of the House and instructed me to report same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 966 do pass. House Bill 1379 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Gerald Green of the 154th District, Chairman. That completes the reading of the reports of standing committees.
Members, if you'll come to the chamber, please get close to your seats. We have a local calendar this morning. 2 bills on the local calendar relates to homestead exemption, require a recorded 2/3 roll call vote for passage. This will be the third reading and passage of uncontested local bills. If there is no objection, we will vote on the local calendar as a whole with a recorded vote. Hearing none, it is so ordered. Mr. Clerk, will you read the local calendar?
House Bill 1280 by Representative Hughley of the 141st, Muskogee County. House Bill 1281 by Representative Hughley of the 141st, City of Columbus. House Bill 1282 by Representative Hughley of the 141st, Muskogee County. House Bill 1347 by Representative Stinson of the 150th, Taylor County. Senate Bill 345 by Senator Walker of the 20th, Dooley County. House Bill 1319 by Representative Clark of the 100th, City of Beaufort, and House Bill 1320 by Representative Clark of the 100th, City of Beaufort.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on the local calendar? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bills? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall these bills now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bills on the local calendar will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If all members voted, if so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the passage of the local calendar, the yeas are 158, the nays are 0. These bills, having received the requisite constitutional majority, are therefore passed. Members, we're moving on to morning orders. We have some folks up in the gallery that have traveled from far and near to be with us. So I would ask all members to give your attention to the member in the well as we show our and pay our respects to folks who've come to be with us today. Here's our lineup. Y'all know what a lineup is. We're going to have a max of 1 minute this morning for your important morning order. We'll begin with Representative Campbell, Joe Campbell, Representative Kendrick, Representative Anderson, Representative Holly, and Representative Scott, Representative Hagan. We will end with Representative Lim and Representative Marion. Representative Joe Campbell is recognized for a morning order.
I'm here to recognize the Whigham School FFA charter that's here today. They consistently have a great program every year. They do an excellent job, and they drove 4.5 hours to get here. So, and they're in the balcony. If I could get y'all are standing. Okay, there they are. If we could give them a warm welcome, I would appreciate it. Darlene, that's Thank y'all. I'd like to mention real quick 2 things. Kaylee Hester, would you wave your hand, Kaylee, so we know? Kaylee's great-grandfather was honored yesterday at the 150-year celebration of the Ag School. That he's 101 years old, and he's an active farmer. He's still farming. He's the oldest active farmer in the state. So, we thank Dr. Champagne for getting all of y'all here. Thank you, ma'am. Thank y'all.
Thank y'all for being here. Hey, tell your grandfather he needs to plant another peanut crop. I think he's planted about 80 of them, I believe, if that's right. So that's awesome. Thank y'all for being here. Appreciate you making the trip up. Representative Kendrick is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. Today is Tech Demo Day at the Capitol. So hopefully you visited our tech founders that are down in the South Wing. They have some goodies for you. We also have the Technology Association in Georgia and ATDC, who also have a table down there. But I wanted to announce the founders that are down there. Tiffany Francis, Coach Tip of the Urban League of Greater Atlanta, Johnson Sainville of Domino, Inc., Pramod Misra of Unify, Marcus King of Lavney Inc., Andre Park of Untapped Solutions, Veronica Woodruff of Travis's, Walker Lee of Branch Politics, Terry Nichelle Bradley of Brown Toy Box Inc., Kimberly A. Irvin Lee of Nerva MSP, and Ben Lawrence of Perennial Technology Consulting LLC. And we have a few people that are in the gallery if they want to stand for us to welcome them, but most of the attendees are downstairs. If you can stand up. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Welcome to the People's House. Every day is Tech Day here, I tell you what. We rely on technology. Thank you all for what you do. Representative Anderson is recognized for a morning order. Recognize Representative Victor Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm not sure if these folks are here yet. We just had a photo downstairs with the governor presenting a proclamation declaring the month of April Prevent Child Abuse Georgia Month in Georgia. And today there's about 40 some odd workers and volunteers for Prevent Child Abuse Georgia from all over the state here, including Ms. Jennifer Stein, the executive director, and Karsten Hartman, who is the Director of Prevention and Community Support for DFACS. We want to welcome them to the State House, and there they are waving up at the top up here. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for what you do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Holly and Representative Scott recognized for a morning order, and other friends as well. Well, that's good. This is a good group to have friends.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Together, we join our colleagues here, mainly in the South Metropolitan Atlanta area, for our Southern Crescent Women in Business Day here at the Georgia Capitol. Spearheaded by Ariel Shaw, this organization seeks to give women in our community the opportunity to excel in entrepreneurship.
Yes, and I would just like to say that this organization has been going on about for the last 5-6 years, and it is a great organization to be in. So all small women in business, if you live in the southern part of Metro, please join Southern Crescent Women in Business. Thank you.
Thank you. We yield the will.
Good job. Thank you. Representative Hagan is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If you all would help me welcome 3 from Memorial Health Meadows Hospital in Vidalia, CEO Matt Hasbrook, CNO Jeffrey Harden, and Vice President of Operations Mike Hagan. I'm married to that one. And I want to thank you for providing the high-quality, compassionate health care that you do for our community. And thank you for being here today.
Did you say Mike Hagan? Is he related? Oh, you're married to him. Hey, Mike, good to have you. I did know that. Hope the boys are good. Thanks for being in Atlanta. Thanks for what y'all do down in Vidalia. Representative Noel Williams, not Neil Williams, he's a Noel. Representative Noel Williams is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to recognize 2 members from Crisp Regional Hospital up in the gallery. One of them is an Alabama fan, but we won't hold that against him, Steve Gauntney, and the other one is Jessica Carter, who's a true dog. So thank you all for being here.
Welcome to the People's House. Representative Lim recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm pleased to welcome the Hopkins Elementary School Student Council, Ms. Hatfield, and Principal Dr. Zaragoza here today. If you will stand, they're already doing it. Let's give them a warm welcome. Hopkins excels in many things. Let's bring it back to tech. They are among fewer than 160 schools recognized nationally for teaching elementary computer science to every K through 5 student, and were even featured recently on the Weather Channel in Espanol doing kid segments on weather and ecology. Very impressive. Today they picked an excellent day to learn more about our state government and how it works. They will explain that to me later. So thank you for being here, and thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative. Thank you, young people. I like your t-shirts. They look cool. Welcome to the People's House. Thank you, Hopkins, for coming here today. Representative Pete Marion's recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I rise to honor and recognize Ethan Pham and his partner, Jenny Nguyen. Ethan, they're both of them co-founding partners of Nguyen and Pham LLC. He went from 4 employees, 2 lawyers, and 2 paralegals to 30 employees, 7 lawyers, and 23 staff members in 7 years. He is the chief judge for the city of Lawrenceville. His partner, Jenny Nguyen, she is the city of Moro, first women judge of Vietnamese American descent, and now she serves as a municipal judge for 3 cities, Johns Creek, Moro, and Forest Park. They're in the gallery right there. Thank you. Please give them a warm welcome to Ethan Pham and Jenny Nguyen. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That almost completes our morning orders. May I do a morning order? I may. Thank you. 1 minute. Let's start the clock. I won't take that long. Thank you, Representative Williams. Got to keep my foot to the fire, right? And there's no doubt about that. We have a great group in our gallery as well that I want to recognize. It's folks from GHA, Georgia Hospital Association for Rural Health Hospital Leaders. They're from rural hospitals all across our state. We appreciate what y'all do. You're crucial to the well-being of our citizens, and we look forward to working with you today, tomorrow, and the days that come. Thank y'all for being here. We appreciate the service y'all provide to Georgians, and thank you again for being here. Let's give them a round of applause. 27 hospitals from across our state. Thank y'all. Representative Williams, I set the timer for myself, and I beat the time. Thank you very much. That completes our morning orders. We'll move on to the rules calendar now. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 589? 589.
House Bill 589 by Representative Chokus, the 151st, be entitled an act to amend Chapter 6 and Title 50 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the Department of Audits and Accounts so as to require certain financial disclosures from entities performing work related to fiscal notes. This bill having referred to the Committee on Budget and Fiscal Affairs Oversight, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chairman Chokus is recognized to present the bill. Chairman Chokus.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, I bring before you a bill dealing with disclosures, deals with some transparency. Currently, our great Department of Audits does not have the capacity to perform all the fiscal notes and economic analyses that we require, and they have to contract it out. And this bill simply puts a requirement on the Department of Audits to look at the contractors that perform that service and find out where their funding comes from, and then gives a report to the Senate Finance Committee and our House Ways and Means Committee. And I'll be happy to answer questions and hope for your favorable consideration.
Gentleman has no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question? Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there an objection to adopting the committee substitute? Chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 589, the yeas are 158, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 839? 839.
House Bill 839 by Representative Dempsey, the 13th, and others to be titled an act to amend Chapter 10A and Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to professional counselors, social workers, and marriage and family therapists so as to enter into an interstate compact known as the Social Work Licensure Compact. This bill having been referred to the Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination. That committee recommends that this bill be passed by substitute.
Chair Lady Dempsey is recognized to present the bill. The lady from up in Rome, Georgia. Chair Lady Dempsey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning. I know we're trying to do a lot of things, so I'm going to be pretty quick here. This is a pretty big but pretty straightforward measure. There are two actual compacts within here. The first one is to help regulated social workers, the practice of licensed social work, and improve public access to competent social work services within our state. And I know that each of you know how important this is to behavioral health, to our work in the schools, and to help that critical workforce. It will allow people to work across lines, state lines. We do have many border areas that will be able to employ more people, but we will also be able to deliver services. That's the most important thing to remember. The second part of this bill adds the Georgia Interstate Massage Compact and will remove the need for multiple licenses and add to that also regulated workforce. This will be, we have today 8 compacts in the state of Georgia. This will allow for 2 more. Mr. Speaker, to help us move along, I will yield the well or answer any questions.
Lady has no questions.
Thank you. I ask for your favorable support.
Lady has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? The chair hears none. The committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any question to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 839. The yeas are 161, the nay is 1. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Bill 926, 926?
House Bill 926 by Representative Reeves, the 99th and others, to be titled an act to amend Title 17 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to criminal procedure so as to provide for issuance of certificates by a court for purposes of demonstrating rehabilitation and good moral character. This bill having referred to the Committee on Judiciary and Non-Civil, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative Matt Reeves is recognized to present the bill. Representative Reeves.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, House colleagues. House Bill 926 is a workforce bill. This allows workers to keep their driver's license more easily on low-level offenses that do not have to do with DUI, child support, or other things having a nexus to driving. If you lose your driver's license, you're more than likely going to have your job disrupted. And Representative Maynor and I worked with municipal court judges and the Department of Driver Services for months on this bill. This straightens out some convoluted procedures on point. The Georgia Chamber and Metro Atlanta Chamber support this, as do criminal justice reform advocates. It had broad-based support throughout Judiciary Non-Civil. Additionally, there's a second part of the bill that gives Safer Hospitals Act protection to Children's Health Care of Atlanta and other children's facilities for the sake of our health care workforce. I commend this bill to you and ask for your favorable support. And I yield for questions, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman, yield for a question.
Absolutely, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Kennard to your left has a question.
Do you yield?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for this measure. Isn't it true that I recently contacted 128 graduates of my transitional program? These are graduates that have now been removed 2 to 16 years since they graduated, and of the 128, 115 are still housed, still working, and are still in recovery. Isn't it true that second chance opportunities work?
Thank you for your great work. The gentleman knows of what he speaks.
Gentleman has no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Chair hears none. The committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 926. The yeas are 159, the nay is 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 846?
House Bill 846 by Representative Leverett of the 123rd to be titled an act to amend Subpart 2 of Part 6 of Article 6 of Chapter 2 of Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to conditions of employment in elementary and secondary education. This bill having referred to the Committee on Education, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative Rob Leverett is recognized to present the bill. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen of the House. House Bill 846 is a bill that grew out of a retired educators meeting in my district one night when one of the members there told me that she retired and thought she would get Social Security and learned that she had not been paying in because most of the school districts do not participate in the Social Security system, and they're legally allowed to opt out, which is perfectly fine. But her plight made me think that we need to do a better job of notifying our school employees of what benefits they're entitled to and whether or not they are paying into Social Security and entitled to benefits under Social Security. So that's all this bill seeks to do, is require school districts to notify employees if they're paying in, if they're eligible, and what other plans are available to them that might take the place of and supplant the absence of Social Security income after they retire. So it just requires the notice be given every 5 years and upon termination or separation from service so that folks are reminded periodically and can make appropriate plans for their retirement. And that's what the bill does. Mr. Speaker, I'll yield for any questions.
Representative Burnell to your left has a question. Representative Burnell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Do you yield?
Yes, ma'am, I yield.
As a retired educator, and also I'm from Detroit, so I received yearly letters from Social Security letting me know what my hours were. So was she given that same opportunity? So I knew when I retired that I had both.
I don't know the answer to that question. I didn't quiz her on what other notices she had received, but I know that she was not aware, and according to GAE and Page, this is a concern of theirs as well, and they support the bill for that reason.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Let's see, this next question probably knows a little bit about what you speak. I think he's spent a career in education. Chairman Irwin, to your right, is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yeah, to my 504 roommate, absolutely.
Is it not true that Georgia is one of only 2 states where school systems either withhold Social Security or do not, where we have that option in this state?
Frankly, I was not aware of the other states' practice, but I'm sure the gentleman asking the question knows well of what he speaks.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Mr. Speaker, if there are no further questions, I'll yield the will and ask favorable consideration of House Bill 846. I know we got a lot to do today.
Gentleman has no further questions. Thank you for the bill. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 846, the yeas are 160, the nay is 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Bill 924, 924?
House Bill 924 by Representative Ballinger, the 23rd, to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 24, Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to insurance generally, so as to prohibit insurers from discriminating against certain health care facilities and providers. This bill having referred to the Committee on Public Health. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair Lady Ballinger, you ready? Chair Lady Ballinger is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that we have a long calendar, so I'll make this very brief. This bill preserves the link between a provider, the patient, and the medication in the middle. It seeks to keep that a continuous and doesn't requires the option of getting medication from the provider, administering the medication. Healthcare providers are in network. It doesn't prohibit white bagging if that's best for the patient, and the provider, in conversation with the patient, has decided that that's the best course of option. It doesn't prohibit it, and it only applies to providers who have a network contract with a health plan. With agreed upon pricing. So I know pricing was a concern, but this is within the contract, and it would be agreed upon pricing. Mr. Speaker, that is the bill, and I will stand for any questions.
Lady has no questions.
Thank you. I ask for your favorable support.
Lady has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 924, the yeas are 160, the nay is 1. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1017, 1017?
House Bill 1017 by Representative Seaball, the 34th, to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 16-721 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to criminal trespass so as to include when a person enters a land or premises for the purposes of residing on such land or premises. This bill having referred to the Committee on Judiciary, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative Devin Seaball is recognized to present the bill. Representative Seaball.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, I rise to present House Bill 1017, also referred to as the Squatter Reform Act. I want to thank Representatives Matt Reeves and Deborah Silcox, along with my friend Sam Owens, for the time and patience in helping draft this legislation. It has been a true team effort. What this bill does is amends the Official Code of Georgia so that the rightful and lawful owners of a property can expeditiously remove an intruder, also known as a squatter, from their property.
Continue.
This bill is needed because for property owners in Georgia, squatters are occupying their property presents a very difficult and expensive legal problem as the law currently stands. We have homeowners tied up in court for 8 months to 2 years in some cases, trying to get these squatters removed from their property. Cases are backing up in Superior Court, and the local sheriff's departments are backed up in issuing writs of possession. We have real estate agents trying to sell a home but can't gain access to show it because a squatter has taken possession. We have military members leaving for duty to serve this country and returning to find a squatter living in their home that is refusing to leave. Georgia property owners are suffering. They're suffering financially, and some to the point of going bankrupt. Georgia has been ranked the #1 place for squatters, and that is not a ranking that we want. Colleagues, House Bill 1017 sends a message to squatters. You are criminals, and you will be treated like criminals. If you commit the crime of squatting, you will be arrested, charged with a crime, prosecuted, and promptly removed from the property. You will be fined, and you will pay for damages you caused, and you will spend time in jail. And if you want to play games by submitting fraudulent leases or rental agreements, we have something extra for you. You may be charged with a felony and sent to jail on separate charges. There are no more free homes available in Georgia, and if you are currently in a home that you don't belong, leave now. Colleagues, stand with me today and send a message to Georgia property owners who are victims of the crime of squatting, that we hear your cry for help, and we're going to do something about it today by voting yes on House Bill 1017. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to answer a few questions.
Gentleman has a couple of questions. Chairlady Silcox, to your right, all the way in the back, has a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
Isn't it true, Representative Seabaugh, that this bill will help realtors all over our state to protect property owners and their rights in that property and help them correctly administer real estate transaction in the state?
The lady knows of what she speaks.
Thank you for bringing the bill.
Thank you.
Representative Jasmine Clark, to your left, has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
So, thank you very much for bringing this bill. I do think that this is an issue that needs to be addressed. But I know that there are some Georgians that have found themselves the victims of fraud, where someone purports to own a property and executes a whole lease, and they move in literally thinking that they are moving in lawfully. How will those victims of fraud be affected by this law?
Thank you for that's a good question, and thank you for that. It's a shame that they're a victim of fraud, and the courts will deal with that appropriately, but they're still squatting in someone else's home, and this bill will get them out of that home in a timely manner.
So they would, does the gentleman further yield?
Yes.
So they would be arrested even if they can show, like, hey, I thought I was renting this place. They would still have to be arrested?
They would receive a writ of possession, and they would have their time in court.
Thank you.
Chairman Carpenter, to your right in the back of the room, has a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
Is it not true that this legislation will, one, protect small businesses across the state and also provide affordable housing for Georgians?
Yes, that is true. Thank you for the question.
You have a couple more if the gentleman will yield.
I will yield for a couple
Representative
more.
Glaze, to your left, has a question. Representative Glaze.
Thank you for bringing this bill, Representative Seabaugh. What I would like to ask you is, isn't it not true that for the last year, my sister who lives out of state, for 1 year, has had to pay her mortgage, her utilities, and continue in Fulton County trying to get a squatter who is a criminal, got there through fraudulent means, used tens of thousands of dollars to get that person out. And this bill helps to criminalize a person like that and to get the property back to the original owner.
Yes, Representative, that is true, and I apologize that your family member had to go through that, but that is exactly what this bill is going to do. Thank you for the question.
Gentleman yield.
Yes, for one more.
Representative Kelly is recognized to your left for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the gentleman yield?
I do.
Isn't it true that as much time as we saw you spending in the Judiciary Committee that some of us considered you a squatter?
With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield the will.
I'm not sure which one of you violated the rules of the House on that one, but I'm sure. Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purposes Representative Silcox rise?
Mr. Speaker, isn't it true that I have supported and will continue to support this state's efforts to address homelessness and housing needs in Georgia the right way while standing for property rights and the rule of law?
That sounded like a parliamentary inquiry, and I'll have to agree with the lady. She knows of what she speaks. Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of the bill, House Bill 1017, the yeas are 167, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Bill 1096?
House Bill 1096 by Representative Washburn of the 144th to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the general provisions of professions and businesses so as established on behalf of professional licensing boards under the jurisdiction of the Office of Secretary of State, a continuing education tracking solution. This bill has been referred to the Committee on Regulated Industries. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative Washburn is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, House Bill 1096 is a bill that we need to do in Georgia to help our licensees with continuing education requirements. Most of our licensees have continuing education requirements that they need in order to renew a license. And this bill authorizes the Secretary of State to invite firms to help them modernize that system to track those continuing education requirements. It is a good bill, and I would appreciate your favorable consideration. Mr. Speaker, I'll be glad to entertain any questions.
Gentleman has no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? Chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1096, the yeas are 167, the nay is 1. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1122?
House Bill 1122 by Representative Hilton of the 48th and others to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 2 Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to secondary and elementary education so as to provide funding requirements to apply to local education agencies. This bill has been referred to the Committee on Education. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative Scott Hilton is recognized to present the bill. Representative Hilton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honored to present to you House Bill 1122, which passed unanimously out of the House Education Committee. This does three things. It adds additional superintendent and principals for charter schools who are currently serving multiple grade bands. The second provision allows part-time paraprofessionals, their children, to attend charter schools. And the third provision resolves a conflict of interest on who may serve on a state charter school governing board. With that, I'll yield for questions.
Gentleman has no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ask for your favorable consideration.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Chair hears none. The committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purpose does Chairman Hawkins rise? I guess that's the purpose. There he is right there. Do you want to vote on this bill? That didn't work out too good, did it? I caught you. All members voted. If all members voted, if so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1122, the yeas are 161, the nays are 7. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Bill 1190, 1190?
House Bill 1190 by Representative Collins, the 71st, and others to be entitled an act to amend Title 43 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to professions and businesses so as to authorize the division director within the office of the Secretary of State to issue licenses in instances when the requirements for licensure have been met. This bill having referred to the Committee on Regulated Industries, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chairman Collins is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the House. I come before you today to present House Bill 1190, a very good piece of public policy. I've had many constituents during my tenure here as a representative to reach out to me about issues that they've had with Secretary of State's office and obtaining a professional license. And it became abundantly clear to me that one of the real problems that we have in this state are boards that do not meet on a timely basis. So what this piece of legislation that you see before you today, House Bill 1190, does is it just simply says that after 60 days of an application being at the Secretary of State's office and that applicant for licensure meets all the requirements, that the division director shall be authorized to issue that license. It's a very good piece of legislation. It's going to help a lot of people. It's going to be something that you can go back home and you can tell everybody in your district that you helped cut through some of the proverbial red tape of state government. Mr. Speaker, that is the genesis of the bill, and that's the bill kind of summarized. I'll be glad to stand for any questions. If there are none, I'd yield the well.
You have a question to your left. Representative Mary Margaret Oliver.
Does the
A
gentleman
little bit behind you here. Yes, sir.
To my friend from Decatur, yes.
The gentleman yield.
Yes.
Thank you for this bill. This is the second licensure bill we've had today. We've had one every day of this session. And what that demonstrates, that comes from several different study committees, that we have significant issues with the licensing boards under the Secretary of State at this point. We need significant reform. Thank you for this bill.
Thank you. Thank you for your support for those words. I couldn't agree more.
Does my heart good when y'all agree, I tell you that. Gentleman has no further questions.
Well, thank you. And just to say, everything's greater in Decatur, and I'll be glad to yield the well and ask for your favorable consideration.
Can't beat that. Is there any objection? The gentleman's yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1190, the yeas are 167, the nays are 0. The bill having received the requisite constitutional majority is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Bill 1201, 1201?
House Bill 1201 by Representative Gaines, the 120th, and others to be entitled an act to amend code sections 17, 10, 21, and 35, 337 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to vacating of sentence for trafficking victim defendants. This bill has been referred to the Committee on Judiciary and Non-Civil. That committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Representative Houston Gaines is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Proud to present House Bill 1201 that continues our efforts to help victims of human trafficking in our state. Current law does not apply in cases of offenders who were sentenced under Georgia's First Offender Act or conditional discharge who were victims of human trafficking in order to have their sentences vacated, just like we've been able to do for other survivors of human trafficking. So this just clarifies that language to ensure those victims have the same rights as other victims. Mr. Speaker, is the bill. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Have no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentlemen, has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Mr. Clerk, will you lock the machine? On the passage of House Bill 1201, the yeas are 167, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. I bet we do this a couple of times a day, but let's get it done one time this morning. Mr. Clerk, will you read House Rule 135?
Rule 135, no member or person shall vote for another member on any question or proposition unless otherwise ordered by the Speaker. Any violation of this rule may be punished by fine, censure, or other action ordered by the House.
We have a busy day today, a lot of important bills. I encourage all members to stay close. Stay close to your machine. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1223, 1223?
House Bill 1223 by Representative Lever to the 123rd to be entitled an act to amend Article 3, Chapter 12 of Title 2 of the official code of Georgia annotated the Georgia Soil Amendment Act of 1976 shows to provide for a new prohibited act. This bill having referred to the Committee on Agriculture and Consumer Affairs, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
The gentleman from Elberton, Representative Leverett, is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I encourage you to vote for House Bill 1223 this morning. This is a bill that deals with the issue of soil amendments. That is a program that has been around for about 50 years. It's managed and regulated by the Department of Agriculture. Commissioner Tyler Harper has been doing a really good job of invigorating that program and making it more robust. This gives him another tool in his toolbox, as we like to say. It's very, very narrow. It's very surgical. It addresses an issue that has been somewhat prevalent in my district and in a lot of other areas in adjacent districts. It's bipartisan legislation. It basically says that if you are subject to a consent order of EPD and there has been a notice of violation or a finding that there is soil contamination, water, groundwater, or surface water contamination due to the spreading of soil amendments, and generally if you do it right, there is none. But when you do it wrong, you can result in that contamination. If that's happened, you cannot continue to spread amendments on that property until that violation or consent order is cleared. That's the limitation, that's the scope of the bill, Mr. Speaker, and I'll stand for any questions.
Gentleman has no question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, since Representative Collins was up here, I want to recognize him for this quote I want to leave you with. It's a Billy Joe Shaver lyric. "The devil made me do it the first time. Second time, I done it on my own." Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll yield the way.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1223, the yeas are 165, the nays are 0. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Members, I'm going to take a point of personal pride. We have a lot of great young people that are in this house today, and I want to recognize the group from Midtown High who are debate champions. They've won several debates across our state. And I want to tell them how proud we are of them, how good it is to have them on the House floor. Congratulations, young people. Thanks to Representative Maynard for bringing them. Y'all could give this bunch some pointers, I'm sure, about debating respectfully. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Bill 1231, 1231?
House Bill 1231 by Representative Holcomb of the 81st and to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 23-519.2 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to eligibility requirements for Hope Scholarship and award amount. This bill having referred to the Committee on Higher Education. That committee recommends this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative Holcomb is recognized to present the bill. Representative Holcomb.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my pleasure to present to you House Bill 1231. The issue that this bill attempts to solve is some of our most motivated and academically gifted students. Many of them will enter into graduate programs simultaneously with their bachelor's work. So for those that do that, there is an issue of whether or not they can use Hope Scholarship hours for that professional study or graduate work. As the statute now stands, it can only be used for a bachelor's degree, but we provide for up to 127 semester hours or 190 quarter hours. So what this bill would do is it would keep those same parameters. However, it would allow students that have extra credits to be able to use those towards advanced degree work. This happened to a constituent of mine. She brought it to my attention. And then of note, the bill carves out anybody who's in dual enrollment. So you would get the 127 credits that you can use. So if you use it for dual enrollment, and what happens now frequently is students will major in multiple undergraduate areas, or they'll get multiple bachelor's degrees, which they can do, and they'll just graduate at the same time. This would just broaden the field so individuals that are in master's or professional work can use the credits. And the final thing that I'll share is the amount of the credit would be for the undergraduate courses. So anybody for whom this applied, they would have to pay the difference between the graduate rate, which is usually a little bit more expensive, and the undergraduate rate, but they would still be able to use the scholarship. I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Gentleman has no questions.
Thank you.
He's yielded the will. Thanks for bringing the bill. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Chair hears none. The committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the bill will vote yes. All of those opposed to the bill will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 1231. The yeas are 164, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1283, 1283?
House Bill 1283 by Representative Persinger of the 119th and others to be titled an act to amend Code Section 1511(2) of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to definitions regarding the juvenile code so as to revise a provision relating to the use of a deadly weapon. This bill I am referred to the Committee on Juvenile Justice. That committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Representative Persinger is recognized to present the bill. Representative Persinger.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. House Bill 1283 for your consideration. This bill is a straightforward bill that's simply cleaning up a code section, a definition in juvenile code that deals with Class A designated felony. It's currently in the code aggravated assault and assault with a deadly weapon. And the definition excludes a firearm as a deadly weapon. So I'll just read the portion of the definition that we have a problem with. It says, when used offensively against a person, actually does result in serious bodily injury, provided that such deadly weapon is not a firearm. So this bill just strikes provided that such a deadly weapon is not a firearm, so that there's no confusion as to what a deadly weapon is. So that's the bill. It passed unanimously out of committee, and I ask for your favorable consideration.
Gentlemen, will you yield for a question?
A couple.
You have a couple. To your right, Representative Wiedauer has a question. Representative Wiedauer.
Does the gentleman yield?
Reluctantly.
Reluctantly, okay. So you say this is a simple bill?
I said it was a straightforward bill.
Straightforward bill, I got you. Further yield?
Yes.
Would it have been quicker just to actually read the whole bill to us at this point? I mean.
Just about.
Okay. Further question?
One more.
So this deals with juvenile code. Is this really just a bill regarding the fact that when you growing up, you might have just needed a little extra hug from your mama?
If the gentleman so states.
Gentleman, yield for another question.
Yes, sir.
Representative Jason Ridley to your right has a question. I'm sure it's important.
Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
Explain to me on line 8 where it says is amended by revising the division 12A and there's 3 I's. Can you tell me what those 3 I's in quotations are for?
That's the line item in the subsection.
Okay, thank you. You're doing a good job.
Good man. Gentleman has one more question. I believe he'll yield for one more.
I'll yield for one more.
Yield Burchett has a question right in front of you there.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
On line 17, your bill in section 2 says all laws and parts of laws in conflict with this act are repealed. Can you recite to me which laws are being repealed?
Any laws that are in conflict.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman yield for one more question from the chair.
One more.
So on this day in 2023, I think is the day you were sworn into this house, and was your first day on crossover day last
Yes.
year. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, Mr. Speaker, it was.
Good job. Welcome to the house.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. You gentlemen has yielded the well. I think you answered those smart aleckly questions very well. Is there an objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? First bill's always the toughest. Have all members voted? All members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1283, the yeas are 165, the nays are 0. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore adopted. Congratulations. It was kind of close there for a while. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1312, 1312?
House Bill 1312 by Representative Jaspers of the 11th, to be entitled an act to amend an act relating to the regulation and taxation of electricity used as motor fuel and electric vehicle charging stations. This bill having been referred to the Committee on Transportation, that committee recommends that this bill do pass.
Chairman Jaspers is recognized to present the bill. Chairman Jaspers.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is the first of a number of transportation bills we'll hear today. This is on electric vehicles, and you remember last year we did a very extensive bill on regulating them, taxing electricity. The Department of Agriculture was tasked with doing that work. They're working hard, but they need more time. And the problem they're having is just looking back at the testing of chargers. And they're working with some folks to get that done. We're going to give them another year to get that done. And that's what the bill does, as you see on line 13, to January 1st, 26. That's the bill. For any questions, I'll be glad to answer, Mr. Speaker.
Gentlemen, yield, if you do, Representative Mary Frances Williams to your left.
Yes,
Look
sir.
a little bit further to your left.
Yeah,
How's
there
the
you go.
question?
Will the chairman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
So I just want to thank you for bringing this bill. I know we're all excited about electric vehicles coming forward, but I know we really want to get it right. So thanks so much for hitting pause so we can get things really right on this. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Is it not true?
That's it. I yield the well, so we keep moving. Thank you, Mr.
Chairman of Transportation has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. Report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1312, the yeas are 167, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1335, 1335?
House Bill 1335 by Representative LaHood of the 175th to be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 7 of Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating the regulation of hospitals and related institutions so as to revise staffing requirements for personal care homes. This bill having referred to the Committee on Public and Community Health, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
The gentleman from Lowndes County, Representative LaHood, is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. This bill is a collaborative effort between the senior care industry, the Department of Community Health, the Alzheimer's Association. Chair Cooper was very helpful with this, and we all weighed in and came up with what we believe is some good solutions for the senior care industry in our efforts to recruit and retain workers. And what this bill simply does is allow the department to recognize the presence of a medical alert system in large personal care homes and assisted living communities with 25 or greater beds, in the way and how it relates to how the staff float around the building. So that's it, Mr. Speaker, and I'll take questions if there are any.
Gentleman has a question. He yield?
I will yield.
Chairman Collins, right down the center aisle, has a question.
Does my friend yield?
Yes, sir.
This is more of a statement than, I guess, a question. Is it not true that in my chosen profession, I'm in and out of a lot of these facilities late at night when there's not a lot of families around? Is that not true?
I know that to be true.
And is it not true that this is probably one of the most meaningful pieces of legislation that will pass this year to make sure and get these folks the round-the-clock care that they need?
I agree with you. Thank you for your question.
Thank you for bringing this bill.
Mr. Speaker, I'll yield.
Gentleman has no further questions.
Thank you.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? The chair hears none. The committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? I didn't know you could still sprint there, Mr. Chairman, but you can. All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1335, the yeas are 163, the nay is 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1344, 1344?
House Bill 1344 by Representative Dempsey, the 13th, being titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 2 of Title 37 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions relative to the administration of mental health, developmental disabilities, addictive diseases, and other disability services. This bill having referred to the Committee on Public and Community Health, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
The lady from Floyd County, Representative Dempsey, is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this is a very simple cleanup bill, an agency bill for the Department of Behavioral Health. It does 4 things to address some work from HB 520. First, it amends the membership of the Behavioral Health Coordinating Council to help with quorum challenges. It will allow those agency heads that are on the executive level to be able to send someone in to represent them if they cannot attend the meeting. Then there are 2 reporting requirements that have been duplicative and will be removed due to newer initiatives that were created in HB 1013 and implemented by DBHDD. And finally, it grants the Board of Professional Counselors, Social Workers, and Marriage Family Therapists the authority to waive certain experience requirements for out-of-state applicants who are applying for licensure in Georgia. As you realize, this emphasizes how much we need that. So you are hearing that in several measures to try to help increase and grow that workforce. Mr. Speaker, if there are any questions, I will take them. If not, I will yield the well and ask for your favorable support.
Lady has no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield.
The lady has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 1344. The yeas are 164. The nay is 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to House Bill 1052, 1052?
House Bill 1052 by Representative Cannon in the 172nd and others to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 4857.4 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to bona fide conservation use property, residential transitional property, and application procedures. This bill having referred to the Committee on Ways and Means, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative Chaz Cannon is recognized to present the bill. Gentlemen,
there we go.
Yeah, you speak into that little thing with that little knob on it. You'll be fine.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I bring House Bill 1052. The purposes of this bill is to provide some flexibility in the CUVA statute for non-family farm entities to give them the ability to rent land that is currently enrolled in CUVA. CUVA is a fairly restricted statute for agricultural land. If a CUVA qualified family farm wanted to lease their land to a non-family farm entity, it would breach their covenant. So basically this provides some flexibility for non-family farms, and that's the growing trend. You got two friends that want to form a partnership, an LLC, to shield some liability and effort through an LLC and split equipment costs or input costs. If they did that because they're not a non-family, because they are not related by blood or marriage, they cannot rent land that's in CUVA. So this allows some flexibility. ACCG gave it a support. Appreciate the Georgia Agribusiness Council bringing this bill and ask for your favorable consideration. I'll stand for any questions.
Fine job. The gentleman has no questions.
I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to Adopting the committee's substitute. The chair hears none. The committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machine? Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 1052. The yeas are 166, the nays are 2. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Members, we're going to call one more bill before lunch. We'll break for lunch, so if there's something that we need to make an announcement about, then you need to make it known so we can call on you for announcements, so our members will be fully informed of what's next. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of House Bill 1116-1116?
House Bill 1116 by Representative Buckner, the 137th, be titled Act to amend Article 2, Chapter 7, Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to imposition rate computation exemptions and credits relative to income taxes. This bill having referred to the Committee on Ways and Means, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Give the lady that will be in the wheel your attention, please. Representative Debbie Buckner from Junction City, Georgia, is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 116 is a joint effort, and I want to thank a couple of people first. Chairman Blackman was very gracious in working with us on this, and it is a combination of Chairman Ron Stevens' bill and one that I had. So it truly is a bipartisan bill, and it is a bill that we have had a tax credit for historic rehabilitation for a number of years. It's been very successful. It's set up in such a way that I know some people that have been really nervous about tax credits and how many have gone through. This one has a lot of structure to it, and we actually worked on reorganizing it some again this time, but it is two parts. Part of the bill is for residential, and part of it is for commercial, but it is all for rehabilitation of older buildings. And once the buildings are designated as historic, then there is a list of what is agreed upon between the person that is doing the rehab and the Department of Revenue about what would be available for the tax credit. Then the work is done, and then the developer or the person redoing the home will go back to DOR, and they're ready for their tax credit, and that's when they get the tax credit. The beauty of this plan is that the state is never out any money. They give the tax credit after the fact, and also the beauty is that for the state of Georgia, they get about $3.80 for every dollar. The tax credit's $1 to the $3.80 that they make on the development. The good thing about this one is that the main thing we needed to do was extend the sunsets, and so we have done that. And we have also increased on some of the smaller commercial projects the caps, because as we all know, there are many more expenses with older buildings when you try to rehab them, and those costs have gone up. So without interfering with lunch too much longer, I will ask for your favorable consideration for extending the caps, or increasing the caps and extending the sunsets, and approving this bill that I hope will help remove some blight in some communities and encourage some rehab of old buildings and making them into new structures for us to use. With that, Mr. Speaker, I'll yield for any questions.
Lady has a question. Chairman Blackman of the center aisle has a question.
The lady yield?
Yes, I do.
Isn't it true that during our panel discussions that we found that this is not only in addition to, in what all you mentioned, one of the best tools we have to address blight in communities across our state?
It is indeed. We have some neighborhoods that were built, for example, after the World War II. They are very fine-built homes, but the neighborhoods are becoming blighted or run down. This would be an opportunity for a community to go in and rehab those houses and redevelop those communities, remove that blight, and make them flourish again.
Thank you for your work on this bill.
Thank you for your assistance, for your question, and I ask for your favorable consideration. And if there are no more questions, I'll yield the well.
You have another question.
Oh, well,
Representative Ann Allen Westbrook to your right has a question.
Does the gentlelady yield?
Yes, I do.
Isn't it true that I have many constituents who are watching this bill who have historic structures they want to fix up? It's a labor of love for a lot of homeowners, but isn't it true that love doesn't actually pay the bills when you're fixing up an old house?
That's exactly true.
Thank you for bringing the bill.
Thank you. With that, I will call your attention to a letter on your desk from the Hub Chamber of Commerce. They are very interested in this passage as well, so thank you very much.
A lady has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? The chair hears none. The committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purpose does Leader Beverly rise?
Pursuant to House Rule 133, I ask to be excused from this vote.
The gentleman has that right, and the journal will so reflect. For what purpose does Chairman Carson rise?
Also, pursuant to Rule 133, I ask to be excused from this vote.
The gentleman has that right, and the journal will so reflect. For what purpose does Representative Gladney rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, sir.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that Augusta used to be a capital city for the state of Georgia, sir?
I'm reflecting.
It is, sir.
I was there, but not that long ago. Yes, I think the lady is exactly correct.
But we certainly appreciate the madam bringing this bill, and we have many historical homes and buildings in the former capital city, and we appreciate the opportunity to benefit from the tax benefit of this bill. Thank you.
I'm sure this will further benefit a very beautiful city. Very beautiful city. If all members voted, if so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of House Bill 1116, the yeas are 162, the nays are 5. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. We have a couple of announcements before we break for lunch. Chairman Corbett is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Georgia Hospital Association Center for Rural Health will be hosting a lunch over in the Ag Building where the Rural Caucus meets upon adjournment. Everybody come join us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Billy Mitchell, recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There will be a Democratic Caucus meeting upon recess, 6:05 in the CLOB. Lunch will be served. Thanks again, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Gunther is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For members of the Judiciary Committee, there is lunch in room 132 from Highland Bakery.
I know you'll be paying attention to this next announcement, but I also ask you to pay some attention to the our message boards and our house pages that are serving today. Are their names and who their member is up on the board. So we certainly will thank them for being here with us today, as so far this morning and into this afternoon. Chairman of the Rules Committee, Chairman Parrish, has an announcement. Let's see.
Some things just don't change.
You asked for it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We're going to break for lunch here, and we want all the members of the Rule Committee to eat a nice lunch and get in a good mood, and then let's show up at 1 o'clock for a short Rules meeting in 341. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That completes our announcements. Members, I appreciate your attention this morning. This House will stand in recess until 1:15 p.m. 1:15.